Hello, everyone. I'm Yamino, the artist of Sister Claire, and I'm joined tonight by...
The one, the only, the incredible, the indelible Ash Barnes. I write the missing moments, and I help Eleanor write the comic.
Can you come a little bit closer so you can be heard even clearer? Yeah, the closer you are to the mic, and if you talk directly into it, the better the sound quality is. So this is going to be a live draw like none other before because I'm going to be working in a totally different medium, which is a 3D modeling medium. I showed some people previously how I made, let me open it up, this model of Clementine's horns so that I could draw them more accurately in different angles and stuff. And this was what I came up with in Sculptris so that I could rotate it and zoom in and draw her basically from every angle while keeping the horns accurate. Oops, I just tweaked them a little there. But yeah, so basically with this I'm not a master of this program by any means, and I'm very new to 3D modeling, but I found it to be very easy and intuitive. And I've tried other programs that are supposed to be very easy, like Google SketchUp and stuff, and those might be good for certain things like drawing an environment, for example, but this is really good for organic shapes or designing monstrous faces and things like that. So I'll get into how I made something like this. I'll start with something new. This is what it looks like when you open up Sculptris, which, by the way, is a free program, and I'm using it on a Mac, but I believe that it's also for PC. But don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure. So you start off with a ball, and you have a couple of different tools you can use. The one I use the most is the grab tool, which you can get by hitting the letter G. And it'll show up as this circle that moves around as you move your cursor. And with the grab tool, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can grab things and move them around. Oh, that looks horrible. You could push them in, make indentations, or pull them out. Pull things up or down or whatever direction you want to do. It can get very distorted if you're not careful. And if you hit the space bar or go up here to this corner, you can change the size of your brush. You can change the strength of it so it will pull things a lot harder or softer. Detail, which I haven't played too much with, but presumably is also about making more detailed meshes or less detailed meshes. Yeah, this is cool. But basically, to make Clementine's horns, I started with this round ball to be like the basic shape of her head, and I made kind of a chin by making a big grab brush, and I just kind of pulled out a little blob to be her chin. And then just to mark where her eyes would be, I made the brush smaller, and I pushed in little indentations where I imagined her eyes might be. And knowing where those are, I could find where her horns would be. Make this side a little bigger. Oh, by the way, I should have noted, you have symmetry turned on automatically, which is really useful for making faces and character designs and stuff. You can turn symmetry off. It's really hard to turn it back on. It's recommended that you only do it, it's recommended that if you make it asymmetrical, you're not going to switch it back. I like symmetry because it's like doing twice the work with only one brushstroke. So I'll make the first bump of her horn. By the way, Ash, please let me know if anybody has any specific questions or if I'm moving too fast.
Okay.
I know that I do tend to move pretty fast sometimes, especially when I get excited. But like here's, you can also undo by hitting Command Z. These could be like two horns. That doesn't quite look like how I drew it in my other thing. I'm not replicating it exactly. I'm just doing this as kind of an example. Kind of cool. This actually looks like the top of an ant's mouth.
Cephalopod Queen says, so what's the live sculpt about today? General tutorial, or is there like a plan?
There's no plan. I was just gonna tell people the really basic stuff that I've taught myself with it. It's really fun to just play with on your own and just see what you come up with.
Flame Rider says that they have made you another picture.
Oh, that's really cool. Thank you so much. I will check it out after the draw.
Cephalopod Queen also asks, the tapering when you pull, is that pressure sensitive?
No, it's not. It's just, I don't know exactly what controls that. It's kind of like running out of ink or something. It stops pulling it after a while. Ooh, that's so weird looking. That's kind of cool. This is no longer Clementine's horns. This is some other horns. But designing horns is really fun, actually. I've discovered that. If you just drag around in this dark gray area, it'll rotate the model. And if you hit Option on the Mac, it lets you drag the object lower or something, so you can get different kind of angles. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of making some different shapes now. Like I said, it's really fun to just play with and see what happens. Okay, that looks a little weird. So that's just the grab tool, which is the one I use the most. There's a couple other tools that you can use, and I'm sure that there are YouTube tutorials that are probably much better than what I'm showing you now. This is just what I've learned, kind of self-taught. There's the Crease Tool, which, as it sounds like, it makes creases like this.
Oh, Cephalopod Queen asks, does it always start with a sphere when you open the program?
Yep, it does. Always. But you can import other objects to either replace the sphere or add on to the sphere. So I showed you the Crease Tool, which is up here. There's the Draw Tool, which lets you draw, you know, these blobby kind of shapes to kind of build up a mass somewhere, if that's what you're trying to do. I did that on the Clementine model when I wanted to build up a mass to pull out to draw more horns, so I would just kind of build it up like this, and then I would take the grab tool and just like pull it up like that. And if you're trying to do something like horns, you can end up with these cool natural looking blobby shapes. But if you want to smooth them out, there's an option to do that too. It's the, where is it, Smooth tool. You can also get it by hitting the letter B on your keyboard, and it'll kind of smooth the shapes out, make them a little more streamlined. It can kind of mess with your pointy shapes a bit though, make them like shorter like this. So be careful with that.
Space Budgie says, you kind of modeled Clementine's horns to look more menacing. Is that on purpose, or is it a good question?
What would you say to that, Ash?
I'd say that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. I'm drawing now on top of the horns to give them a little more weight. And I know it looks kind of ugly right now, but bear with me. You know how I was saying that there's the Smooth tool. Well, once you give it a little more weight, then you can smooth it out a bit. Oh, that didn't come out quite how I wanted. Maybe it's a little too strong. Yeah, it is very strong. There, that's better. Also, if you're doing a model like I did mainly just for your own reference, it doesn't have to be like totally beautiful. as long as you understand what you were trying to shape and you'll know how to draw it later if you're doing it like I did for a 3D model reference, then just make it as detailed as you need it. It doesn't have to be a work of art.
Cephalopod Queen asks, how much can Clementine, like, consciously decide how she wants her horns to present? I wouldn't say very much. She doesn't have much control over how they look.
You are what you eat, right? You are what you absorb. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Elena.
I think I might be smoothing this into nothing. That can be an issue sometimes. Sometimes you get these unfortunate kind of very sharp corners that are hard to erase. And that's something I don't really know how to fix. Like, there's no delete tool. This is a very limited program. That's probably why it's free. So it does have some things that are kind of hard to fix if you make certain mistakes that you can't just undo. It also has limited undo capacity. Oh, that looks cool as hell. I guess this is her next horn design. Because I like
it. Excuse me.
Oh, and here's another cool thing. You can mask certain areas so that you will not edit them, and you can edit only certain parts of it. The masking tools can be kind of hard to use because it's also very limited like the rest of this program is, but you hit the letter M to enter the masking tools, and then you just paint over the parts that you don't want edited, and those are going to be this dark gray color. So let's say I just wanted to edit the horns, and I will make the rest of the face area masked out. I'll try to select just the horns.
Jamie says, so we haven't even seen her final form?
Maybe you haven't. That's a good question. Okay, so I feel like I've done a good job of just, oh wait, nope. You gotta make sure you get all of it. Oops, what did I just do? Mask that away. Okay, so I've got just her horns selected, I hope. Now, if I want to, say, make her horns much bigger, I can, ooh, what did I do? There we go. You can go to scale up here, and normally that would scale your entire thing. But if you've masked out a part of it, it will only scale the light gray part. So I can go ahead and make the horns huge. They now no longer fit on her head, but you know, you can also, can I move it? Oh no, that's just rotating it. Yeah, you gotta be careful when you scale things that you don't mess everything up. What I could also do is hit Command I, and that will invert my selection. And then maybe I can move the whole thing. Yeah, okay. So I sort of fixed it. The horns are still a little bit too big. So yeah. Maybe I'll scale them back down a tiny bit. Maybe I'll also move this back here. Okay, so I made them bigger, but you see how there's this ugly, jaggedy area here now? Let's see if I can smooth it. Seems to be working so far so good. Sometimes it doesn't work that nicely. It's kind of getting away from me here. I'm trying to use the draw tool to fill it up a little bit, and then I tried to smooth it, but unfortunately it doesn't work as perfectly as clay. Yeah.
Riggy says, do Clementine's horns do the velvet shedding thing where the velvet comes off in bloody strips? I haven't written that yet, but I would really like to, or to write something a lot like it, because I think there's something interesting that could happen with that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, look, I pretty successfully smoothed it out. Yay!
Good job. Hi, Laura.
Hello! But there, so you see I grew the horns. Now they look a little thick, so if I wanted to fix it up, I could use the grab tool. Thick. And just like pull that down a little more, maybe. Maybe thin this out a little too. I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just messing with it now.
Seppi said maybe like a partial purifying with the horns could lead to the velvet. It's a thought. She's done some partial purifications before, and hasn't ended up with that though.
That's right. I can think of at least one.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, that looked like a Barbie leg.
Or like a chicken leg, more like. Okay, this doesn't really want to smooth out the way I had intended, so I guess that part's just going to be really thick. It's too strong. So strong. Ah, I shrank it a lot.
You gave her little syringes.
Yeah, I didn't mean for that to happen.
Marguerite horns.
So yeah, these are just some. Would anyone like to see anything else? I'm still kind of learning with this program, so I can't guarantee that I could do anything super amazing, but.
Proxy asks, are the horns always antlers, or could they potentially be more like ram horns, like actual bone? Well, I've said this in live draws before, but when I was getting Elena to design Claire's horns, I really wanted Claire to have ram horns, like, rather than the stag antlers that Clementine does. And maybe eventually we'll get to see her with some horns like that if I can twist Elena's arm. I still think they would look cool, and I think they would stand for Claire and make her quite separate from Clementine, at least as far as headgear goes. But we'll have to see. Is there a possibility, you asked? Yes.
This does not want to smooth out. This is the problem. Like, I really wish there was an erase tool, but sometimes you just can't get it to smooth out the way you want. Also, this part looks really jaggedy for some reason.
Lara said, if we're theorizing, does anyone have any predictions for book 3? I would be interested to see what people think is going to happen in book 3.
Anyway, I think I'm done working on these horns. Should I save it?
if you want to.
I'll save it. I don't know what for, but... what should I try to make?
It's hard for you to model architecture with this program, isn't it?
Oh yeah, this is more for organic things.
Mm-hmm.
I could do my best to model a face, but I can't guarantee it's gonna look good at all. Why don't I try to do a body instead, because that has a little more leeway. I'll try to shape like a human bust.
Okay, go for it.
Hehe, bust.
Sephi says, I predict Grimm will be upset and Olga will have a crisis, and also Ozzy and Claire will have some interesting interactions. Proxy says, I feel like we're going to see the fall of Eden. Riggy says, I think that Magpie will transform back into human form and be real dramatic and have a heartwarming reunion with Margie. Laura says, my guess is Claire and company will head with Lupo and Ozzy to meet up with the pack in Bright Night.
What good ideas.
Which might lead to a confrontation with the Helsings. Dun dun dun. Oh, Laura says, oh, Ash, your voice sounds coffee. Is it still bad? Yeah. I'm trying not to be gross all over the microphone.
You're doing okay. Who disturbs our slumber? It's David.
David.
Hey, David.
Hey, David.
The first time that parking lot was full, but then I came here and then I went back.
Oh, good.
Thank you, David.
Sorry, I took a long time.
Try not to make noise. We're live and recording.
Space Budgie says, I theorize that we'll get to see Egg. And people are like, yes, Egg. Egg, egg, egg. Yes, Egg.
Oh my god. I'm going to be drawing a headless torso right now because I do not feel like drawing a torso. Here's the flatten tool.
Proxy says, Hanabi returns. Riggy said, Egg and Dove and Hana. We'll see.
Why? Why is it doing this? It must be because I'm drawing from too far away. It's making very simple shapes. I don't know why this is so blocky.
If y'all have questions or comments, give me a second. I was trying to open it on my computer instead of my phone, and my computer's being kind of a pain. Just gonna restart it.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna give up on this right now. Why is it so blocky? Did I set a limit to the number of wireframes I can use? Like, I don't understand. not actually drawing on here. Oh my god, there we go. Okay.
Hey, it looks like that Neopet. Oh, not from that angle, it doesn't.
As you can see, I am still struggling a little. Okay, but anyway, I think I figured out how to make the mesh a little more detailed, so let's try smoothing this down a little. Okay, that's so much better. So much better. Okay, so this is gonna be our neck. Gonna make it nice and flat here, like she's just been decapitated. Yay! Can't believe I'm spending this long drawing a neck.
Okay, sorry about that, y'all. Now I have the chat back open, so if you have any questions or anything, you can ask me, or us, and I'll relay them to Elena. Flame Rider says, will Claire's hair be as curly as Clementine's?
No, not as curly. That was kind of a Clementine thing.
Yeah. I think you'll see her hair go through some evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Clementine's the one with the killer curls.
Oh, I'm spending so long on this damn neck. It's just not smooth enough.
Flame Rider asks, how old was Clementine when Eden fell? Between 18 and 19. Flame Rider asks, what's David doing?
I was looking for a less squeaky chair.
What did I do? No! Did it crash? No! No!
Oh no!
Did it save?
Oh.
No, it didn't save everything. It was saved something kind of recent. I'm sorry, David. Please continue with what you were saying.
Oh.
Just start this shit over.
Yes, I'm currently writing some flavor text for some homebrew player species in the Star Wars role-playing campaign I'm planning. So it's I find it strange that there hasn't been an official entry for Jawas. Yeah. Because they're pretty iconic. But, wait, let me look at the chat. Let's see.
This looks so much better before.
Marguerite would be the old mentor who lets herself get struck down and become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Flame Rider said, David, if I guess Marjorie was in Star Wars, which side would she be on? That's the question he was answering.
Oh, okay.
Sculptris.
Hot Pants Robbie is asking who this is a 3D rendition of.
Mystery girl. Nobody. It's just me practicing.
Oh, this is really cool, Sephi. This is Sephi's humanoid Selkie mom.
Oh, very cool.
I really like the pelt.
Mm-hmm.
Super awesome. I like how huge she is compared to Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine looks like a doll. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Matt asks again who you're modeling. Matt just got back. Elena doesn't know yet.
It's nobody. It's some random naked person.
Is this the first time you've ever modeled like a person in this program?
No, it's not. No, I've done another bust like this. Unfortunately, it's not safe for work, so I cannot go here. Cannot be shared.
Did I see that one?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Huh.
A long, long time ago.
In a galaxy far away. I heard the Weird Al version a long time before the original. Does Google SketchUp still exist?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Has a very active community. A lot
Well,
of
I
free
think it's not
models.
Google anymore.
It might not be.
Right.
That's kind of cool, huh?
Matt is asking, didn't you use Google SketchUp to make Claire's room?
Yeah, also a very long time ago. I have not used Google SketchUp in a very long time. It's not very intuitive to me, whereas I find Sculptris to be very intuitive, but unfortunately not very adept for drawing backgrounds.
Flame Rider said, why did Claire's hair get flat when cut? Mine doesn't get flat.
Well, everybody's hair worked differently. Magic.
Actually, yeah, that's a really good answer. Magic. Snort, snort. My curly hair also does not get flat when cut. There are only a few circumstances wherein my hair gets flat, and one of them is when the hairdresser doesn't listen to me and flattens my hair even though I've asked her repeatedly to not do so. It's one of my least...
Straightening it, you mean?
Well, it's essentially the same thing. Makes me look like a beetle. That is one of my least favorite things to ever happen to me.
Getting your hair straightened.
Yes.
Oh my god, no.
Of course you can ask questions, Matt. That's what we are here for.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I have any Kleenex? Why? Oh, I got so hopeful. I saw that book over there on that table in the distance, and I was like, oh, a Kleenex box? But alas, it is not to be.
Do you have any in your office?
Yeah, that's downstairs. Oh, Flame Rider says, have you guys seen the latest Steven Universe episode?
I have not.
Is there a new one?
I don't know.
I still haven't seen the one with Ruby or Navy.
Oh, that's a good one. You should see it.
Oh, thank you, David.
Some bounty.
I'll take this lovely coarse paper towel to rasp upon my face. I really appreciate the thought. No, it's fine, David. It's fine. Matt asks, first question, are the glowing flowers in the cave Gabby and Clementine lived in Hanabi light flowers? If so, has she been roomies with Gabby, or can the flowers stay lit for decades? That's a pretty good question. Hanabi's flowers can stay lit for a really, really long time, especially when they are infused with Clementine's magic. And I can't tell you yet whether or not they are hers. But definitely a good thought. And has she been roomies with Gabby? No. Gabby has lived there by herself. I want to blow my nose, but I don't want to be gross. Sorry, guys.
This is not really coming out.
Ew.
Drawing boobs is really hard in this. They're coming out kind of weird shape. Okay, that'll do, pig.
Wow.
You know what? Do you want to draw some titties, Ash?
No.
Do you want to do a better job? Oh my god. Oh no, she needs to get a doctor.
There's no cleavage.
Well, that's not uncommon,
Not
David.
every titties have cleavage.
Not every titties. Is that your new motto?
Yep.
Not every titties.
Not all titties.
Oh, God. I sound so gross right now.
What's grosser, your cough or these titties?
I don't think they're gross. I just think they're kind of like video game titties.
Yeah.
They look like they belong to Lara Croft.
Lara Croft?
Is that what her name is?
Lara Croft.
Is it
Ash.
Lara?
Yeah, it is.
God, I don't know. I've never heard it said aloud.
Lara Croft.
No.
Lara.
I've never heard it said. Oh, there's no. Oh, okay. I've never heard it said aloud. I just remember my brother was obsessed when I was a child. He had way too many magazines with her in it. It was kind of disturbing.
Maybe I can make the cleavage better if I, like, shove them... Oh, no!
Why? It's
Why?
like a tooth.
Boobs and butts are really hard for me to do in this program. I really have a hard time. I can't get them to, like, sit the way I want.
God.
As I said, you are welcome to make them yourself if you
Oh my God.
can do a better job.
Look at some source filmmaker art. That's a good reference.
It was me.
Oh my god, I'm just making it worse all the time. Well, you know what? This is gonna be a flat chest. It's just gonna be a flat chest. That's what it's gonna be. No, what are you doing? No.
No! What have you done? This is like body horror. Stop.
I don't know how.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, let's use the flatten tool. Oh no! Look what happened when I use the flatten tool.
Tropophobia.
This is like modern art. Look what I did. Look what I did.
What have you done? They're like pony legs.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm just gonna leave this here because it was going okay and then it went horrible. It went really bad.
Oh my god, that was terrifying.
Okay, let's do a new one.
Why don't you just draw something like?
You mean like on Photoshop?
Yes.
This is supposed to be
You've already
3D.
You've already shown some like alchemic horrors going on over there. I think people get it.
Who wants me to keep making 3D things and who wants me to leave for... No, okay.
Elena.
If anybody says me to that, I will leave forever. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to leave.
Matt really wants you to make more models.
Okay. Who wants me to make horrible body horror that makes Ash cry?
I think David's reaction summed up mine pretty well.
He was like, ah!
I'm,
Okay.
I'm looking at the tab every now and then. I was not prepared.
Cephalopod Queen said, I think you can do more of this, but maybe you need to have more of a plan for it.
I had a plan. It was going perfectly until, her boobs turned into bazookas, but I had it under, control. Okay, well, let's see. What if I try to... Okay, how about working from reference? We can do this.
Matt says, can you try to make the giant shard?
Are you kidding me? With like a billion tentacles? No, I can't make that. That would require a much more complicated... Noah says I could take the titties no more.
And make some pretty things on Photoshop, please.
It doesn't all have to be titties. Let's see. What if I look up...
Matt wants to know, why did Claire get such similar horns to Clementine, 2 prongs right above the eyebrows? Marie hit the giant shard with a single fatal pressure point on its forehead, so wouldn't Claire have become a unicorn? Am I interpreting horns wrong? Well,
What?
I think the
what
last...
about hitting on the head?
Eleanor, read. It's right there. We wanted Claire's horns to be pretty similar to Clementine's, at least at the start. And that is why they were similar to Clementine's, because we said so.
Also, the horns are not determined by how the shard was killed.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm gonna try to make it based on this snake. Snake.
Jamie says, will Claire eventually have issues with walking through doors? She already does. Matt says, what is horn growth based on then, apart from artistic reasons? It has to do with a lot of the amount of pain inside a person at any given time.
Can you turn off your buzzing?
That's what I was doing at this exact moment. Sorry about that.
Snake.
Sorry for being gross. Oh, Matt says, I mean exit point, like why 2 points above the eyebrows and not somewhere else? Now that's a good question that I can't answer right now. Flame Rider says, how come Claire's horns grew when she saw Catherine again? Because she was angry. What's that saying in Star Wars? Anger leads to hate.
Hate leads to suffering.
There you go. In states of high emotion, the horns are bound to show some kind of reaction, be it growth or blooming or other things that you might not have seen yet. You'll see. Matt says, has a shard ever been killed in the middle of Clementine trying to purify it? Yes. Well, eventually. Space Budgie said, I'd like to see Claire's horns shed when she sees Catherine, like as a contrast to the first time when they grew when she saw Catherine. You probably won't see that.
Maybe she could molt it.
Claire's got a lot of emotional baggage and stuff when it comes to Catherine, and I think it's quite interesting that for both Claire and Clementine, Catherine was not enough of a source of solace and comfort to have the horns shed. Jamie said, can a shard ever die of old age? Yes. Not without taking out a lot with it, but yeah, it can die. What big nostrils.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks like a cute little crocodile thing now.
Or like a dragon.
Yeah, make it a dragon.
Ah.
Sephi says, so what sort of things could happen if a shard is killed while Clementine's trying to purify it? Baby Claire seems to have reacted badly to shards dying nearby. Yeah, let's just say that it wouldn't be very pretty. Miss Sarah wants to know, why does water hurt shards? Do you want me to answer that, Elena?
Yeah.
Water hurts shards because water is kind of a natural purifier. And it only hurts most shards, not all shards. Here's a question for you, Elena. What made you come up with the twins?
Well, they were not really meant to be main characters. They were based, because Oscar was based off the character of the same name from Rose of Versailles. I wanted to throw in a little shout-out homage to Rosalie from Rose of Versailles and Marie Antoinette. And so, because they look like twins in the original, but they're not related at all, I thought it would be funny to make them twins and Sister Claire. And then they ended up actually becoming pretty important characters. But they were not really meant to be even recurring more than one panel, and then I liked them, so I kept them.
Sephi asks, would alcohol hurt shards then, since it also has some purifying properties? Or charcoal? Smoke? Charcoal and smoke? Maybe not. Alcohol? Maybe. Matt says, where did the giant shard in the comic come from? Did you guys see the theorizing we did a few pages ago, and can you comment on it? I have not seen the theorizing yet.
I don't know if I've seen it, the one that you're referring to.
So if you can summarize it pretty quickly, then I can offer my comments on it. Moondoodles says, if a shard dies from old age, what happens to the forces that make it exist? There's a lot of stuff at work there, it seems. Where would it go? It would seep back into the surrounding atmosphere, which is not a very good thing. Space Budgie says, were Henny and the boxing glove nun supposed to be important?
Nope. A lot of that is thanks to Jamie requesting a lot of stuff about Henny in particular.
And me fleshing them out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all that they've been given more of a life.
Here's my snakehead.
That's cute. Paulina asks, does that mean that the planet would eventually be poisoned beyond repair since they are not immortal? Not necessarily. Areas can be purified over time, and there are other things that lead to areas being a little bit cleaned up, so. But there are certain places that are pretty much uninhabitable because of the poisoning that's happened from either the death of shards or just really bad things happening there. You have seen them. Sydney wants to know, will we see Claire use Nun Fu again? Also, well, and call me Sydney. Maybe.
Maybe.
Matt says, basically I propose that Clementine's death led to the creation of the Super Shard. It has horns and ringlet-like tentacles. Or Riggy said, Super Shard representing Fall of Eden as a whole, maybe? In which case, how has no one noticed it wandering around for 20-ish years? Let me just say that that shard, while huge, is nowhere near enough to indicate the devastation from the Fall of Eden. That shard's like 80 feet tall, okay? Like, imagine the death of a city. A city. Like, yikes. What happened in the wake of Clementine's death and the fall of Eden and the fall of Throne of Mare, the death of so many people, is that many of the shards did take on echoes of Clementine's pain. That big shard was just the first that you'll see. I mentioned that a few times in, I think, both older live draws and in some comments on older pages. I'm not blaming you if you didn't see it, because I can't even recall myself where I said it, but I know I have said it before. But that's what's going on. You will see that again, and again, and again.
I made a dragon.
It's cute as heck. Sephi said, I'm thinking Eden's one of those uninhabitable places now, perhaps. Oh, you know what this looks like, Elena?
Spyro?
Well, not only that, it looks like a blessing.
Uh-huh.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Is this a good dragon?
Mm-hmm.
Good
Doesn't it kinda
dragon.
look-
That's a good dragon.
Does it kind of look like Spyro?
Mm-hmm.
Good dragons are no fun. Hey, that's enough.
I like my dragon.
Oh, Matt says, speaking of blessings, where's the one Ozzy got? Do they still have it? Yeah, they still have it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it again. As if we didn't have enough cat-flavored mascots. Let's call it Nyur.
The near.
Nyur.
Okay, try that again. Yeah, that's more better. Should I? Yeah, I like it. Isn't this cute? Little dragon.
It's really cute.
Okay, I will save it, I guess.
Sydney says, are there still remains of Eden or Throne of Mare? Yes. Space Budgie asks, thinking about blessings, is there any reason some purified shards come out more cat-like than others? Yeah, that's actually answered in both, I think it's answered more in the missing moments than in the comic, but both Clementine and Claire really like cats and kind of push the form into a shape that they perceive as happy. The plan with the energy and, stuff inside Claire that everyone else was worried about, that has now started, in part to come out as horns. They were hoping via suggestion that Claire would form that into a baby. That's where that logic came from. But canonically, Clementine has also shaped purified shards into birds. And there's mention a couple times of shards that people didn't see the final form of, just they knew that she had made one. So they're not always cats, just often.
I'm trying to make an ear, and then I will attach it to the snake-looking thing to make it like a blessing.
Okay. Jamie says, can the blessings take on more human-like appearances?
No.
Not those, no. Not the ones in the Shattered City. If you're asking if a shard could, yeah, it could. Laura said, here's a question then. If Claire or Clementine wanted, could they purposefully make a pain baby? Yes. Yeah, they could. A shard in the shape of a human? What a good question.
Technically, Clementine already did with Grimm.
Yeah, but Grimm didn't start off looking like a baby. Grimm started looking like a cat. Matt said, how did they know if the baby root would work? What a good question, Matt. What a great question. This looks like a urinal.
It's supposed to look like an ear.
Yeah, Laura said, could they make their own absorbed pain come out as a baby rather than horns? Yes, they could do that. But let me follow that up with, a lot of people think, even though we have said many times that this is not what happened, that Claire is Clementine's daughter, natural daughter, Clementine had her as a baby. No, that is not what happened. Sydney says, Ash, have you done anything today you'd like to share with us? That sounds very ominous.
Do you want to share with the class, Ash?
So, what have you been up to, Ash?
I built a web page and I helped about 80 students register for fall 2017 classes.
Oh, really? Is that all you did, Ash? Harold!
Space Budgie says, wow, you guys really dug yourself out of a writing hole, huh? You're welcome. Laura wants to know if it would still hurt a lot for them to make a pain baby. Oh yeah, like it would hurt as much as having a kid would hurt. And then, then Space Budgie goes on to say, you actually sat down and explained your way out of that. That's almost impressive.
God, it just closed again.
Oh. I'm not sure whether condescending or actually praise.
What? Oh, about the writing hole?
Yeah, never mind.
No!
Did it shut again?
It keeps closing when I try to use this tool. Let me save it. It doesn't want me to use the Crease Tool, apparently.
That's just fine.
Oh, okay. Doesn't want me to use any tool, apparently. Well, what if I just open my snake file?
Zach wants to know, did Clementine willingly create any conscious thing? Yeah. I mean, technically all the things that she helps to reshape are conscious, so. Riggy says, if Grimm is the combination of multiple people suffering, why do they manifest as a little kid rather than a combination/young adult? Lots of reasons. Narratively, it worked quite well. I felt like the suffering of the child would be the most potent, and therefore that would be the form that would be the most likely. Also, have you ever seen an angry little kid? Like...
Now it looks like a cow.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's cute, though. Matt says, if Clementine or Claire came across a fully transformed siren, could they purify it like a shard? If so, what would it become? No, neither of them could purify a siren. A siren isn't quite the same as a shard.
It's weird how a snake can suddenly look so much like a cow.
It's cute as hell. Sydney said, what happened to the king and queen during the fall of Thronum Mare? That's very spoilery. Laura said, Clementine's horns hurt all the time, right? And Claire's pain baby didn't hurt. While she was pregnant with it, that is. Both are reservoirs for pain, so why do the horns hurt but the baby bump doesn't? And what would that kid be like when it was born? Those are all very, very good questions. Like, Clementine's horns usually hurt all the time. They do when they're pretty new. I'm trying to decide if the next thing I really wanted to say was a spoiler or not. Not really. Laura. Oh, genius. Cast your mind back and back, in the missing moments. What did Claire suffer from when she was a child? Think about it, it's described quite often. Paulina said it. Claire suffered from stomach aches.
Why is this so hard? There we go. Oh my God, stop.
Sydney asks, how come Claire felt pain when the giant shard came around? Also, have you given an official name to the giant shard? Yes, their name is Mega Kitty.
Mega Kitty.
Mega Kitty. And Claire experienced pain not only because of her empathy with shards, but other reasons. Clementine mentions it too. Like, both Claire and Clementine also tend to suffer wounds that shards endure when they are in close proximity. Like when Rosalie stabbed Mega Kitty's tongue, Claire's mouth also bled.
Mm-hmm. There.
It's a blessing.
Yay.
It's so cute.
I love it.
I'll try to do a body for it too if the program will stop shutting down on me.
Sydney says, why isn't Olga scared of Claire? Well, there's no saying that she's not scared of her. It's just that fear is not her first, most visceral reaction. I don't think she would be afraid of Claire in general. Maybe, what Claire's new headgear means and a bunch of other stuff, but not Claire herself. Olga's not afraid of a heck of a lot, so. Ah, Proxy said, please tell the dragon that I love it.
Proxy loves you.
Laura said, hey, is there like critical mass a shard can hit? A limit size before newer shards can't merge anymore because it's just humongous? No. Sorry, Sydney, I don't have very many new stories to tell.
Oh my god, I made it so freaking wide.
Y'all should see Elena's face right now. She is like hyper-focused.
Oh no, I made the neck too narrow.
Oh, Matt, that is an interesting question. Were Selkie's souls harvested for Machina in the same way as humans during the fall of the old world, leading to the birth of the first sirens? Or do sirens have a different origin? Different origin, but good thought. Zach says, Clementine held pain for a long time and only managed to let go of it with extreme happiness. Can Claire throw pain, or did she just expel the child in a way different from happiness? I have to ask, what makes you think she expelled anything? Matt wants to know about the origin of Selkies. You will find out eventually. Or sirens, excuse me. You'll find out eventually. Laura says, which are older, sirens or shards? I don't know.
It's a mystery.
There you go. If I put some like real hard thought to it, I could probably give you an answer, but I don't want to sit here and like give a fully like formed yes, here is my genuine reply here, because I don't know. I haven't given it enough thought yet.
What do you think?
I think it's cute as hell. Aw. Looks like Nessie. Did Rosie do okay at Petco today?
Yeah, she always behaves herself there because she's scared of the shopping cart. So she walks really nicely next to me. The only time she ever walks nicely next to me. Like, because normally she tries to tug ahead, but the shopping cart is ahead, so she'll be like, I guess I'll just stay here next to you, Mom. And I'm like, works for me. Isn't this cute as hell? I'm sorry, maybe you didn't hear me. Isn't this cute as hell?
Yes, it is. It is cute as hell.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Very cute, smooth feet.
Oh. Is there a fork in the food that you brought me?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You might have one in your office downstairs, Derek.
I don't have one there. It's okay. I'll wait till we go home.
There's also some in the kitchen.
There's a class in there.
Are you sure right now?
Yeah. It's okay.
You know what? I have not done a super incredible job of drawing cat feet, but
Zach says, so how much are you going to base this blessing on Zeke right now? It doesn't really look like Zeke.
it doesn't really look anything like Zeke.
Matt said, Elena, is it possible to set a side view of the blessing as the background and work with that as a guide? That's how I did the machina, but that was in Blender.
Yeah, this is not nearly that complex a program. It's super, super limited. It does not let you do anything like that. That would be great, but no.
Paulina says, speaking of shards, can Marie read the aura of shards, or does her magic only work with humans? What do you think, Elena?
She can probably read shard auras.
Zach says, would shards be drawn towards locations of high, purely positive emotion, such as a village celebrating a festival? I recall shards being pulled or compelled toward more pain and suffering. Would the opposite, or rather the absence of suffering, be a blind spot to them? No, not at all. They're drawn toward, like, energy in general. Energia, like life force. So a festival would be a beacon for them, unless it was very heavily warded. Large gatherings of people in general in the Sister Claire world are incredibly difficult to manage because they constantly draw shards. And not, like, remember that shards can, even a bunch of small shards are dangerous because they can merge into something bigger. Like, shards in general are very dangerous. That's why Salvation, the capital city, is being constantly staffed by nuns and all manner of mages and people who are just constantly patrolling not only the city walls, but the area around the city to rid it of shards before they can get too close to the city and make a mess. Matt says, did the old world have any long-lasting effects on the Sister Claire universe other than Machina and shards? Well, I'm sure it did, but I think it depends on what you're asking. I mean, people with magic, that's a big one. Mm-hmm. Magic in general. Yeah, magic, snort, snort. Magic. Oh, ow. That hurt my nose.
Oh, no.
Sydney said, I have a silly question. If Claire could meet Steven Universe, what would they do first, and what would their fusion name be? And Riggy said, stare. I'm not sure what their fusion would be called. But I don't know, I would say they'd probably go play with cats, but then I remembered Steven's history with cats.
I don't know, he can turn into cats. Claire would love that trick. Yeah, the first thing they did would probably be go eat Cookie Cat. Cookie Cat, he's super duper yummy. Cookie Cat, he's a friend for your tummy. Cookie Cat, he left his family behind. Claire starts crying. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it sad.
Remember someone on Tumblr suggested, or they recommended SketchUp for people who have trouble drawing backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
like drawing like their characters in relation to it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's valid. I think it's good for that. It looks cute. It doesn't quite look like the blessings in the comic, but that's okay.
Its back legs are very odd.
Well, you know what? I don't know how to draw cat legs, so...
Do you want me to show you? Here, I'm gonna look up cat legs. Let's see what this turns up on Google. Oh, yeah. Okay.
You have bonus energy.
Eleanor. Does this help?
I drew them like that. Oh, it's kind of rotated now. I see. Maybe I need to...
The butt needs to be for... Oh my god.
There, what about that?
Yeah, that's a little better. My god, cats are so cute.
They're really hard to draw and to model. I need to make the head a lot bigger.
Sydney says, if each character in the Sister Claire universe was a gem, what would they be and why? You can go down the cast list. I'm not sure we want to do that. Like, Ellen is pretty focused right now. Also, I don't think either of us knows a ton about gems and their, like, properties and stuff.
I sure don't.
We need gemologist here to help with that.
Mm-hmm. I also think that I am kind of finishing this up.
Okay.
So we might want to ask for any last questions.
You heard the lady. If anyone has any last questions, hit us up. Matt says, how did you two meet?
The internet.
Adventure Time fandom. Long time ago.
Very long time ago. There we go. It's a cute little cat.
It's really cute, baby.
Yeah.
Matt says, Elena, what drawing techniques, and Ash, what writing skills do you think you have improved upon the most by working on Sister Claire?
Inking, for sure, has been a big improvement since doing a comic every day, almost. And I've learned how to ink in different programs. I wish I had never inked in Adobe Illustrator, but now that I know how to ink in Manga Studio, everything is so much easier. How about you, dear?
I think I've gotten better at writing shorter stories, and writing them. I think I've gotten better at writing short stories, and I think I've gotten better at writing little condensed stories quickly when it comes to writing for Sister Claire. Because believe me, I can go on and on and on and on. But having worked on the missing moments now, rather than having to write a bunch and then go back and cut out a lot and end up with something, small, I'm usually able to write the missing moments without having to edit them too terribly much, which is good.
I like how this came out.
Yeah, me too. It looks really cute.
It is cute.
Zach said, can someone be shrouded from a shard's view without wards or extreme distance? Yes. Yes, they can. One of the ways is to submerge themselves in water. That's a way. Though that doesn't always work. Another way, if a shard is of a particular size, it might not bother with a person who doesn't have a ton of magic, like Oscar. That's mentioned canonically in the comic, how they say the shard might not even be able to see her because she just doesn't have excess energia.
Oh, what a cool picture of the twins.
Sydney did that.
Oh, thank you, Sydney. I love it. I really love it.
It's really cute.
Very dynamic. Oh, well, on that note, unless there are no further questions, I think that we are done with this.
There's a couple more questions. Let me grab those really quick. Well, Matt says, Elena, will you be doing more live models?
I don't have any plans to, because it doesn't really super help me with the comic unless I have something very specific like Clementine's horns, and I just don't know when I will need to do something like that in the future.
Mm-hmm. And Zach says, does Magpie harbor any feeling of kindred guardianship over Claire? I mean, Magpie definitely wants to watch out for Claire, but Magpie's got a whole bunch of hang-ups after the fall of Eden, and you might say Magpie's kind of terrified to get too close to Claire. And on that note, I think we'll
It's time to say goodnight.
Yeah. I don't know that I can sing.
That's okay. Me and David can sing.
I'll try. I can't really modulate with all this nast in my head, but I can try.
Okay. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Beautiful.